Yo, what's up, guys? NazUFC here. Welcome back to another video. So, talking about UFC 5 again, basically going to speak to you guys about the approach you want to take if you want to be a good player. It's going to be the same approach I take. And yeah, so UFC 5 is going to drop in about 20 days from now. So, it's getting really close. And you don't want to make the same mistake I made when UFC 4 dropped. So, I took a really casual approach. So, when UFC 4 came out, I was not taking it seriously at all. I really liked the game, but like I was playing my friends who I knew I was way better than, way too much. Um, I was having a lot of fun. I admit that, but like it prevented me from becoming good at the game. I avoided going to the ground. I was doing like stand and bang, and that was probably because all my friends were like, they had the same attitude too. There was just strikers, all that sort of stuff. Um, I was not playing the competitive game modes of the game. I wasn't playing ranked early. I was a really casual, quick fight player, essentially, right? And that led me to being a shit player really early in the game. And then, like season 6, season 8 was when I was like, God damn, like I really do like this game. I'm playing it a lot. Like, why don't I try become good, sort of thing. So I took my time to learn the wrestling. I watched videos. That's how I became good at the wrestling, the submissions. I watched videos. I took time to step away from the game and actually learn how the game works. Because UFC games, they always do a shit job at tutorials and tips and all that sort of stuff. And you've got to look on the internet to find those resources. So that's essentially what I did. Whenever people would beat me on ranked, especially when they would batter me, I'd message them, I'll add them, I'll ask them for rematches, I'd get salty. And when I accepted that this player was better than me, kind of thing, I would ask them for help and advice, or ask for them to show me a certain technique. And I used to do this a lot. I would ask people like, "How do you do that? How do you do this?" And before I knew it, I was becoming better and better at UFC 4. And I want to say about a year and a half in, I started to beat players that were considered really good, and it I was able to like measure my skill level and my progress in a game by beating these players. And I started to play ranked. I was hitting the high divisions and stuff about a year in, and I started to realize that I was hitting Division 20 consistently from there. And the leaderboards is a great way to measure your progress on ranked. Because when was first hitting Div 20, I was like top 200. And the season after, I was getting closer and closer to the top 100. And then before knew it, I was in the top 50s and then the top 10s. I was getting really good at this game. And game time and consistency and playing players that are good is what sharpens your skills. Because you guys know iron sharpens iron, and that's essentially how it works in this game. Um, a few things that are going to change in UFC 5 are the controls, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the controls too. So I put this together, stand-up fighting controls. I stole this from a screenshot from UFC 3, but I changed a few things. So standard fighting game setup, PlayStation. Right kick is circle, X kick is left. Like you guys know all that bullshit. The block's going to be the same. Technical modifier, you hold that down to throw like head kicks and shit. Movement, all that stuff right? The only thing that's going to change is the clinch input, and there's a new spin input. So I know you guys already know about that, but the deep dive didn't really tell you guys that if you switch stance, some of these things change, some of these things stay the same. So no matter what stance you're in, southpaw or orthodox, the spin input will always remain circle and X together. On Xbox, that's B and A together. But the only thing that changes when your stance changes is the clinch input. So on UFC, it was R1 and your lead hand to clinch. In this, it's kind of similar but different. So you're pressing face buttons instead. If you're an orthodox, knowing your left hand is your lead punch, which is square. You to do a clinch from there, you press square and X together. To do a clinch attempt when you're on southpaw, you obviously know that your right hand is your lead punch now, so you press triangle and circle to initiate clinch. So things like that will change. So get familiarized with that. Left hook's the same. Left uppercut, right uppercut's changed. So now you've got to hold R1 and then press square at the same time. And for the right uppercut, it's R1 and triangle. I know it's the opposite there. Pressing R2 will cancel a strike in progress. So that's what a feint is. Head movement, still your right stick. Bobblehead's a lot harder in this game. You burn a lot of stamina, and so don't rely on being a bobblehead user because that shit's cheesy anyways, and it's really disliked. Blocks can be broken with absorbing multiple strikes, so block breaking still going to be a thing. In the beta, it was super OP. It was a lot worse than UFC 4 actually. I think they're going to buff the block health, so it's similar to UFC 4. Then I don't think there'll be much of an issue. We're now looking at the grapple controls for UFC 5, so I put this together again. So I just edited an old screenshot of UFC 3 controls off the internet. So this is all the same. Everything you see on this controller is the same. Take a screenshot if you want. Might come in handy later. To use your right stick to transition, you hold down R2 and you flick your right stick in the direction your opponent's moving to deny transitions. Advanced transition modifier. You can still do that half guard sweep from bottom full guard, all that stuff still in the game. Yeah, you can still do power get ups when you hold down R1. I should have put that as a thing here. All that stuff's still there. Momentum transitions, that's all in the game too. I didn't make a video on momentum transitions on UFC 4, but it's always been the same. Momentum transitions have been there since UFC 2. There's a lot more submission reversals in this game, and I'm gonna make a video quite early on them. They're really handy, bro. The submission reversals in this game are the things you should be fishing for. They're actually kind of meta. I'm not even gonna lie, because you just get submission offense positions just from denials, and they're easy to hit too. I can't lie. But yeah, the things that have changed is the takedown attempt input. So pay close attention to that. Now you hold L2 square and X to do a single leg, and L2 triangle and circle together to do a double leg, assuming we're in orthodox, right? Because remember, squares, the single leg's a bit weak, and your square button is like your jab, which is a weak punch. So think of it that way to remember it. And yeah, to do a slam or a power takedown, you input this, right? L2 square and X together, and then you let go of L2 and square, and you continue to hold down on X. I figured that out by just playing the game. They don't actually tell you that anywhere. To do a slam takedown, and then to do a slam doubled leg takedown, where you lift them up onto your shoulders, you hold down L2 triangle and circle together, but then you let go of triangle and L2, continue to hold down circle, and both slams put you in side control. Only some wrestlers can do it. I think you need 3-star takedowns to do a slam. I think 90% of the wrestlers in the game should be able to do it. If they've got that wrestler name underneath them, then they should be able to do it. Defend transitions are to inflict the right stick in the direction they're moving. Advanced transitions, like I said, that half guard sweep is a good example of an advanced transition. Takedown defense is still the same, the triggers, but obviously in this game, you still have those turning takedowns. So to defend a turning takedown, they can only turn it up, down, and sometimes against you. So if they're doing it against you, you just need to flick your left stick backwards. If they flick it downwards, you flick the left stick down. If they flick it up, you flick the left stick up. Remember, guys, you're holding down the triggers when you're defending these takedowns. Ground transition, you use your right stick. If no get up transition is available in your current position, hold L1 to see if it's an advanced transition. So that still applies to UFC 5, by the way. L2 and right stick to start a submission. Well, you don't start a submission in this game. You actually when you start a submission, it puts you in a position to initiate submission, but you're not fully there yet. It's just you're just in another position, and to do the actual submission, you move your right stick up. I don't think you need to hold L2. I can't remember actually. I think it's just your right stick up to actually submit them, but they can deny that, of course. So you need to set up with like fakes and punches maybe if you're able to, and denials and stuff. Build that grapple advantage. So there's that. We're now going to look at the new clinch. So I explained to you guys earlier, you press square and X together to initiate the clinch from orthodox, and if you're in southpaw, then it's triangle and circle together. To move your opponent around, you just move them around with your left stick, but you don't want to move backwards because that breaks it unless you want to. R1, tap square or tap triangle. Tie whips them is when you snap their head down, and from there they can't hit you. So the clinch is essentially the same. The only thing that has changed is for the person in defense. So he can break out a lot easier. All he has to do is punch you once or punch you a few times, and it will break. On UFC 4, that never used to happen. You would constantly be smacking the dude, and nothing will happen. But in this game, the clinch breaks off damage. When they have you against the fence, all you need to throw is about 3 knees, and the clinch will break, which is good because they can't camp there, and they will need to do something fast before they land 3 knees. So whilst you're kneeing them, be prepared to defend that takedown, or make sure you don't get put in like a standing guillotine. That's still in the game. To defend a standing guillotine, you hold down the right trigger. Right, that stops you from being put in the initial position. If they do have you in that position, don't freak out. Just move backwards. So they're going to be moving you around. If they're moving you around, then it's quite hard to know what direction their left stick's in. But you need to quite imagine what they're doing with their left stick and replicate it. It helps if you put a person in that standing guillotine position yourself and move them around just to see how it looks, if that makes sense. But once you got that down and you know how it works, then you need to move your left stick basically the exact same way your opponent is, and you need to keep doing that for a few seconds, and the clinch will break. If you put someone against the fence whilst you're doing a standing guillotine, the submission will start straight away. You drop to the floor, and actually no, it doesn't start straight away. You just get put in that guillotine position on the floor. From there, you need to move your right stick up to actually choke them. If you drain all their stamina, they won't be able to defend the choke. So it's basically a free sub. The only thing they can do is immediately try breakout by transitioning. So as soon as you drop, you can camp and deny transition. You have stamina advantage, so their transition will be a lot slower. And I'm going to make a video on how to defend and deny transition in these positions when the game comes out. That video will drop pretty quick too. So yeah, guys, that's the controls. Screenshot it so you can get familiarized with it quick. I recommend you learn the controls quick so you don't have to waste your time learning that. Then yeah, learn how the submission works, learn the ground game if you haven't already, and striking can all come later. Striking's easy to pick up. Yeah, play around with the spin inputs and stuff. Figure out how to do spinny strikes. So you can mix your stand up. Don't just be a plain boxer in this game. I feel like kickboxing will be really effective because the speed of these kicks are really fast and they do a lot of damage. You get a lot of rocks in this game from kicks. A lot less flash KOs, but a lot of stuns. But if you stun someone, you can score a knockdown and then finish them with ground and pound. And obviously in this game, ground and pounds are more overpowered than UFC 4 because you've got that new elbow, which does a lot of damage, by the way. And you've got the damage system. So the game's going to be a lot focused on attacking the guy's face. So you're going to see a lot less body work in this game. So yeah, I like to see what they do with the body work. They might buff body damage, maybe. Who knows? Because no one was attacking the body in the beta. I can't lie. Even I was still going for body shots like I do in UFC 4. But goddamn, attacking the face seems a lot easier now. The amount of doctor stoppages I was getting was crazy. If you cut them early, all you had to do was just keep focusing that cut with jabs and hooks, elbows on the ground, stuff like that. When you've got them on the ground, you can actually choose. On UFC 4, it didn't matter what punch you threw, square or triangle, on the floor. But on this game, because of the new damage system, you can throw the right punch in these ground position, even if it's these like little minor strikes in half guard, you can still see the guys cut like opening and opening. So focus, learn the damage system too, especially when you're defending, because these penalties that pop up on your screen, the lungs is when your nose is broken. That affects how quick your stamina regenerates. So you don't want to be throwing big combos because your stamina will be low for a long time, and you're more open to be getting rocked, because I'm pretty sure when your nose is broken in this game, you get stunned a lot easier too. Or when you're cut, you never want to slip to that direction too. You need to maybe switch stance and start slipping in the other direction, because it stuns you a lot. I've noticed. You can even get flash KO'd, especially if your eyes like swelled up. So there's a lot to learn about the damage system too in this game. So that's another thing to think about. And so yeah, guys, I'm now going to talk about the more competitive side of UFC 5. If you're looking to become a player that is, if you think you're already good at UFC 4 and you want to become a competitive player, or even if you're not good at the game and you become a good player later on or something, then you can start getting involved in the competitive scene. Pardon me. Once you get involved in like the competitive scene, it will give you another reason to play the game, which will make you a better player. It could be 2 fights. It could be 2 fights on a weekend on a card or something. It will give you a reason to prepare for a fight against someone, because you're going to be given an opponent. You do research on them. You watch tape on them. You figure out what kind of player they are. Wrestler, striker. Oh, Martin, appreciate the sub. And yeah, so it makes you study players and then figure out counters and then actually execute like a game plan, and shit like that makes you a good player. Sometimes you're like, damn, I'm fighting a heavy wrestler. I better go work on my takedown defense, etc. Sharpen those tools, and that's what makes you a better player on UFC 5. That's what I was doing towards a later stage of the game. Before I became a content creator, I was doing loads of these league fights. I promise you, I was in like prime time. I was in Cage Rage, which is now called ECA. I was in ESFL. I was in this league called UFL, Ultimate Fighting Legends, I think it was called. So many leagues, bro. I was just constantly fighting dudes, and it was really fun. I can't lie. You might enjoy these league fights more than ranked. And by the way, as long as you're decent at the game, you can compete in these leagues. Your record would show how good you are as a player, and they would match you with players at similar records. So you don't even have to be crazy good. And yeah, it would just give you another reason to play the game, like I just said. And then you can do this at any stage. So I've got a team on UFC 4. You guys might know of my team. It's called NM, which stands for No Mercy. And this is basically my Twitter page. Go follow it, guys, if you haven't already. The @ is NM Esports Team. And if you compete in ESFL, which isn't a solo league anymore, so it isn't just you fighting a dude, it's your team going against other teams, and you wanna get involved in these teams. You wanna try and get scouted, and in order to do that, you need to become a good player. You need to become recognized. You need to play in these leagues, and these teams will see you. My team might see you. Another team might see you, like BFAP. There's loads of competitive teams out there, and if you're scouted by these players, you'll become a really good player, because first of all, you're joining a team full of pros and they already know loads of shit, and they'll spar you, they'll help you prepare for like your league fights, stuff like that. You'll become a good player. So like here's my team. I'm going to show you a bit. So I actually run this page. So if I go to my followers, I will show you guys. We're followed by ESFL. That's like I think they're the official league or esports league of the UFC game. So we've got NM Proxer in my team. You guys know Mikey, Irish player who always tunes in on my streams. UFC 5 Pro Esports. He's got NM Esports in his bio. He's 18, so he's a young boy, Beautiful picture, and Mikey's a really good player. He's someone we picked up quite a while ago, and Jake, appreciate the sub, bro. And Yeah, the way we scouted him was he was doing exceptionally good in these leagues. He just started to play in these leagues. He was doing well on ranked, and this was like season 15. So he became good like mid game, and we're like, oh shit, this guy's seriously good. So we contacted him, we spoke to him, asked him if he wanted to join our team, and he was like, yeah, sound. And now I'm really good mates with him. And guys, it's key to be loyal in these teams. You never want to join these teams and leave, because being close is good. That's what makes you guys stronger. Smudger, he's smashing it in prime time. He posted this. So Smudger is someone who competes in prime time a lot on PlayStation, and I coach him a lot. So I corner him, I go in his corners, and you know basically tell him what to do. And I do this. Every week. And some players in my team like getting corners, some don't. But I'm literally watching his share screen, and I'm basically just giving him advice. He's a good player. He knows how to stand and stuff. But like, even when I'm watching him, it's making me a better player, even though I'm not even playing, because it helps me observe a lot. It helps me look at what the opponent's doing, his patterns, and then I'm giving him advice on what to do. I'm like, yo, he's throwing that jab hook a lot. You might want to think about pulling, and he would do it. He'll do a pull counter, etc., stuff like that, and getting involved in these teams and stuff, being competitive in a game is what really makes you a better player. That's when you start becoming a casual and you start shooting and becoming a really good player at UFC 5, So if I was you, I would definitely take that competitive approach when you play UFC 5. Remember, guys, you don't even need to be that good. The way I started getting involved in these leagues, when I was playing ranked and I was like Division 17, I would beat a really high Division 20 player I would boast about on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. That's how I started my TikTok. I used to beat good Division 20 players and post them on TikTok. And people were like, damn, that guy's a pro in this league, blah, blah, blah. Well done. I was like, really? Like, he was easy. Was he really a pro? And that is when I realized that I was, holy shit, like, the competitive scene's not even all that. And, so don't be afraid when you participate in these league fights. Oh, by the way, like, if you play ranked, there's no nerves. When you play in these league fights, there's a lot of nerves involved too. So playing them a lot can help you control your nerves and shit. It can improve your composure. And then when you go play shit like ranked, you're like, holy shit, this feels like quick fight. And that's what leads to me being a really good ranked player, because I just see ranked as just boring and shit. The league fights is what actually motivates me and makes me feel a bit nervous and shit like that, especially because people are watching you live. That shit like that, being on that stage can make you a bit nervous. So being under pressure like that, being under like the bright lights like that, is what makes you a good player too. And doing that consistently makes you a really good player. So yeah, guys, that's basically it for my video. Damn, I thought I would talk a lot more in this video, but not really. I hope I've given you guys an idea of how, the approach you want to take when the game drops. I'm going to be dropping loads of tips and tutorials for you guys early so you can watch it, add shit to your game. I've already got in mind the video I'm going to make. I'm going to bring a striking video out quite early, and it should help out. It won't be a shit video, trust me on that. My submission video will come out quite early, because I've already got everything prepared for that. I just need to grab a few bits when the game drops out, and then that video will be up really quick. So yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, anything like that, drop me a comment. If I've not answered a question that you've got in mind, then yeah, definitely drop a comment down below and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And drop a like on this video, guys, because it does help. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.